will attest to the fact that I walked through those buildings, and they are absolutely beautiful, those homes that they built. So they've done a great job on the Avila project. But I also wanted to update the board on kind of where we're at with our Johnson Avenue project as well. So Kara Florence is here from Oasis, and so she's here to kind of give you an update as well as answer any questions you have.
Thank you. It's been some time since I personally updated the board, and I'm very pleased to be with you this evening. To refresh your memory, I passed out a little handout that includes a synopsis of the project history, the project description, and an updated timeline. I should also make you aware that that is on the district's school website as well. So. And I'm more than happy to address any of the questions or comments that you may have about those items. But let me just say, given the length of this process, looking at the timeline, just let me thank you for your patience. But also assure you that we have been diligently protecting your interests and attempting to manage a very challenging bureaucratic process to pursue the district's goals and objectives. The good news is that we are very close to finalizing the environmental document, and you'll note from the timeline that the draft EIR will be out for public consumption in November, and I expect hopefully to be back before the board to discuss what that document says when it comes to impacts and, more importantly, the mitigation measures. We anticipate being in public hearings early next year, first with the Planning Commission and ultimately with the City Council. And as I have asked you before in the past, I will ask again for your support as we move through that public process. While I know that success will be ours in due time, and given that the economy is really bumping along toward recovery, I would ask this evening for your authorization to initiate the request for proposal process. While not committing to a specific developer, the RFP process would help us to gauge the level of interest and explore alternative financial models that I think will ultimately help the board to decide the most financially beneficial way to approach the property's development potential. So with that said, I'm more than happy to answer the board's questions.
Well, I have a question sort of on process. So we would have to agendize what you just ask us to consider doing, and okay, so we'll.
Yeah, so I can bring that back to the board in terms of having it be an approval, actual approval for that process. Okay. I think tonight it was more just kind of a general overview for the board, as well as kind of get your feeling in terms of going out and you know, gaining that support. So I'll go ahead and bring that back in terms of an actual approval for that at the next board meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Excuse me just a second. Is there a member of the public who would like to speak to this issue? Okay, seeing no one, we'll bring it back. Any change in the neighborhood dynamics that you've noticed?
Well, actually, we have been spending our time wisely, and I think the neighborhood I'll just state it, controversy has really been around traffic. You'll notice there's a footnote on my timeline that the city initiated the Fix-Lini neighborhood traffic fix, if you will, and that has helped that neighborhood, realizing that these are existing challenges. Nothing that we actually are creating, so we're trying to make sure that there's a balanced approach at the city when it comes to traffic mitigations that may in fact be applied to the project specifically. So we've been looking at the external circulation. We're also looking very closely at our own internal circulation and seeing how those things can all work together. As of late, we have determined through the EIR's traffic consultant and the city's traffic engineers that we can eliminate a Class 1, which sounds really great, but in the California Environmental Quality Act, you don't want to have a Class 1 impact. We've been able to relocate or, eliminate that Class 1 impact at Lizzie and Johnson. So that is a key thing. We're hoping to, in our additional public outreach meetings that we're going to be doing, explain that. The city has been helping us with that as well to get that word out, because they have been meeting with the neighbors in that area as well. I have to tell you that the elimination of the bus service provided a real challenge to the traffic engineers. So we went to the extent of conducting a bus survey to determine how students were going to actually get to school for the 2013-2014 year. Although there were 92 paid students in that, just going to the high school alone, going to the high school, realistically only 45 of those rode the bus consistently, so we needed to be concerned about those. And I don't know if this is a fun tidbit about traffic, but the project itself with 88 units was less of an impact than eliminating bus service to the high school. I know you didn't want to do it, but now that's going to be considered in the EIR, so I think we are certainly well covered if, in fact, there would be ever a challenge to that environmental document.
Thank you. I'm wondering, when you go out for requests for proposals, will you be specifying a density of 88 units?
Essentially, we, or the school district, has gone through this process to change the zoning and establish, if you will, density and a variety of other things, so that your, I'll call developer partner, the only thing that they would need to do is go back to the city to have the architecture looked at through the ARC, Architecture Review Commission. And we've actually established design guidelines so that someone coming in to respond to this RFP will know the level and the composition and the form and the articulation and the design concept that I think the district is interested in, and certainly now the city is interested in.
Okay, and there was one area that required mitigation, and that's been resolved?
We are continuing to resolve the traffic issues that, again, I want to underscore the fact that these are existing traffic issues that will determine what the development's, if you will, fair share of improvements to help with those.
I was actually referring to the exotic grasses.
Oh, your favorite purple needlegrass. Yes, well, that still is a preserve. We've moved all that density off, so you'll notice in the site plan there's a hint of purple to the left, if you will, of the development.
Okay, I appreciate your perseverance. This has been long and arduous, and we only hear about it periodically. You live it daily. So thank you very much for your hard work in our behalf.
You're very welcome.
Forward.
I'm very, very proud to represent all of you in the district. So it makes my job easy. So I am truly an advocate for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Hope springs eternal. We look forward to your next update. Okay. And we will move on to consideration of board member representative